There has been some tragic news out of Brazil over this past week with news of the death of one-time UFC fighter Maiquel Falcao, who was stabbed to death outside of a bar in his home country. The incident serves as a warning that these things can literally happen to anyone, and of course thoughts go out to his family. Stay with us as today we are discussing the incident. First of all, who was Maiquel Falcao? 40-year-old Falcao was a mixed martial artist who competed in a ton of different organizations throughout his career, maybe most notably for the UFC competitor Bellator. Although having one fight in the UFC, Falcao's best remembered for his stint at Bellator, having competed for the middleweight title at one point, although he lost after being knocked out by Alexander Shlemenko. He did, however, win Season 6 of the middleweight tournament, beating Andreas Spang via unanimous decision. Prior to his time with Bellator, Falcao had one fight in Dana White's UFC, scoring another unanimous decision win against Gerald Harris at UFC 123. Falcao was cut from Bellator in 2013 after details emerged of an altercation he was involved in with a group of men at a gas station after he had allegedly struck a female customer inside of the station. A relative of the woman confronted Falcao and his friend, fellow MMA fighter Kawi Mena, and the man was promptly knocked to the ground. Four of the women's relatives and friends then surrounded the pair, and Falcao was knocked out after being struck on the back of the head with a piece of wood. Mena actually spent a lot of time in intensive care and never fought again. Falcao, however, did fight again, 23 more times in fact, and finished his career in December 2019 after suffering 10 losses in his last 13 fights. What do you remember from Falcao's career? Let us know below. So what happened in the incident where Falcao unfortunately lost his life? While Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane were going to war on Saturday night, Maiquel Falcao was also involved in a war of his own, which sadly ended in the Brazilian losing his life. Reports say he was attacked outside a bar in his hometown of Pelotas, Brazil. Apparently, the 40, 19, and 1 fighter was stabbed multiple times following a disagreement. The detective in charge of the case, Felix Raffenham, told reporters that there were no witnesses nor a motive, but shards of glass were found next to Falcao's body, indicating that he had been stabbed. Falcao, who was cut from the UFC following Dana White finding out about a previous incident where he allegedly hit a woman, was pronounced dead early on Sunday morning, and the assailant is yet to be apprehended. Falcao's not the first ex-UFC fighter to lose his life violently. A few years back, former light heavyweight contender Ryan Jimmo was killed after being run down in a parking lot following an altercation with 2 men. We can only imagine it must be a case of people panicking when involved in a fight with a known tough guy and sadly resort to using weapons as they know they're at a disadvantage. However, without knowing the details of what happened, it is hard to speculate on the cause of the incident. Can you think of any other incident where fighters have been attacked? Let us know below. Next up, we're discussing a pretty frank Francis Ngannou interview. Stay tuned. Following his first heavyweight title defense on Saturday night, Francis Ngannou was reportedly upset at his treatment from UFC boss Dana White, who snubbed the Cameroonian by not wrapping his belt around him at the end of the fight. Instead, White sent in his second-in-command Mick Maynard, who was on hand to do White's duty. Ngannou was further angered after White didn't show at the post-fight press conference, which he traditionally does at the end of every big event. The pair have been involved in heated exchanges recently after White's refusal to renegotiate the big man's contract, and Francis has threatened to take his talents elsewhere, which White did not like one bit. Ngannou appeared on Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour after the fight and claimed that he wasn't particularly impressed with White's treatment of him, but at the same time he wasn't fazed. He went on to explain that UFC officials had not been in touch and that he would need surgery following the fight. He then put the UFC brass on blast for not appreciating him as heavyweight champ, and also said that by now, he is around $7 million out of pocket thanks to the poor terms of his contract. He then said, "The money was tempting, it was good, but this is not just about money. Just money cannot fix this situation. I don't believe that." He then finished by saying that the fighters have no rights. It doesn't look good at this point, and it looks like Ngannou and White could be parting company. What do you guys think? Next up, a bit of Don Fry news. UFC pioneer Don Fry, who was involved in one of the craziest fights ever against Korean Hong Man Choi, was octagon side on Saturday night to watch the evening's fight, and in true Fry fashion, it all got a bit crazy. In a video which has been circulating online this week, Fry is seemingly involved in an argument with a fan at the Anaheim event before other guys get involved to try and calm the situation down. Whatever the man had said to the UFC legend seemingly angered him, as he then lands a punch on the man before he is dragged away. The man backs off Fry, who seems to still be goading him before the pair are led away. We don't know as of yet what the argument consisted of, but we imagine there was probably booze involved, as UFC events can get a little rowdy sometimes. Fry, who's now deep into his 50s, probably should know better, but old habits die hard, right? Fry was known for his wrestling and brawling back in the day, and even won the UFC 8 tournament after defeating Gary Goodridge, so for the guy to be taking on a man like Fry, he must have either been crazy or drunk. Fry also won the Ultimate 96 tournament after submitting fellow legends Goodridge, Mark Hall, and Tank Abbott. What is your favorite memory memory of the UFC Hall of Famer? Give us your opinions below. We're discussing Kenny Florian losing his commentating gig next. Stay tuned. The Ultimate Fighter Season 1 alumni, Kenny Florian, who returned after losing his 2011 fight with a legendary Brazilian Jose Aldo, was possibly best known by younger fight fans as part of the promotion's top-class commentary team, alongside the likes of Dominic Cruz, Michael Bisping, and Daniel Cormier. Florian had suggested that it was his refusal to be a coach on The Ultimate Fighter Latin America, which ultimately meant he lost his role as part of the commentary team. He said, "I was asked to coach on, I think, The Ultimate Fighter Latin America, one of the early ones back in the day. I wasn't able to do it. It was travel and all of that stuff, and I was doing UFC Tonight, I was doing commentary work, and I just had a lot of stuff going on at home, so I just wasn't able to really do it. It just didn't make sense, and because I said no, I kind of slowly started being removed from stuff. That's my understanding. That's what's been told to me. Not directly, but by people within the company who are close to the source." Florian went on to say that although he loved his role, he has no regrets and harbors no ill will towards his former employers. He now commentates for the PFL and will be back in the booth in April when the season begins again. What is your favorite memory of Florian, who will always be held in high regard for his role in the inaugural season of The Ultimate Fighter? Some more criticism for Dana White now, coming from a fighter from a completely different promotion. Former men's Bellator featherweight and lightweight champion Patricio Pitbull Ferre has recently spoken out against Dana White's treatment of Henry Cejudo, who he classes as a good friend. Despite Cejudo being officially retired, he has in recent weeks put White on blast for not giving him the next shot at Alexander Volkanovski's featherweight title. Cejudo has never even fought in the featherweight division, let alone not having fought in almost 2 years. Even in spite of this, Patricio still had a go at White, saying, "Dana White is the most contradictory guy in MMA. Look at George St. Pierre. He had been retired for years, then he came back and fought Bisping for the title straight away. Do I see a double pattern? Why is Cejudo not worthy? He's only been retired for a little while. That's a fight that fans would like to see. Cejudo has his respect. He was an Olympic champion. He retired with 2 active titles. He has a point. GSP had never fought at middleweight before the Bisping fight." Ferre went on to claim that although the Korean Zombie, who fights Volk next, is tough, the Cejudo fight would be better for the fans, before calling White a pretty rude word beginning with a D. Dear me. As always, thanks for tuning in today, and remember to stop by next time for some more revelations. Also, why not do us a solid and share today's video with any fight fans you know of, and of course, rest in peace, Maiquel Falcao.